You're listening to Dear Tarot with me, Simone Katherine. I'm your guide for uplifting and honest tarot. In each episode, listeners write in with real questions about love, work, life purpose, and I pull the cards, connect with spirits, and bring the messages directly to you here on the podcast. Are you in? Let's get started. My name is Simone, and I am your host today. We're going to delve into some real listener questions about real life situations and get the cards to give us some juicy responses from Spirit to help guide them into the next part of their life in a more confident manner. So if that sounds like something you'd like to listen to, then let's go. In this episode, we are going to hear listener questions. The first one is, what is coming up for me next in my romantic life? The first question that we're going to get into today is from H. And H says, Dear Tarot, I was wondering, I have been talking to someone regularly who I could potentially have a relationship with in the future, but I am hesitant to move forward too quickly due to my past experience with domestic violence and court cases, and because my ex has started contacting me again. I haven't responded because it's not in the best interest of anyone for me to do that, and it's also not a safe option. I'm also a full-time carer for my youngest son, so I'm usually very busy. However, I have had to call on others for help since I broke my shoulder. Asking for help is a bit out of my comfort zone. I feel like there is so much going on all at once right now, but I am barely able to move. I'm trying to find the meaning of all of this and maybe get some pointers on how best to navigate a time where I have less control than I would like to have. Maybe some guidance around where I should be focusing my attention, because I also feel a bit scattered in my energy. Meditation has been helping me to cope, and I feel like there's something else that I should be doing, and I can't quite put my finger on what that is. I hope this all makes sense, and I'm looking forward to hearing the podcast and what the cards have to say. I feel a lot of spiritual presence at the moment, so it will be interesting to hear what comes through. Kind regards, H. What an articulate person. Very beautifully put. And also, we can really feel all of that going on for you, H. I think just in the way that you described it was so powerful. And that's the first card that came in for you. When I see these three cards together, I definitely can see a couple of things. We've got the Strength card in reverse, Two of Swords in its regular position, and the Hermit in reverse as well. So, what does that tell us? Well, obviously, Spirit is first acknowledging your pain and what you've been going through. There are a lot of people in and around my energetic space as well, like in my physical life, that have been going through big pain issues as well. And I even did myself just recently, although not as big as a broken shoulder. I want you to know that there's no way you could have brought this on yourself. Sometimes in older generational spirituality, they talk about manifesting in bad things happening to us because we've been thinking negative thoughts. And that's where the sort of toxic positivity started, since that is definitely not my vibe. I wanted to start there. We still have a ways to go in terms of releasing that perfectionism, releasing toxic positivity, and accepting that there are times when things happen to us that we have zero control over, which has nothing to do with our karma as a person. It's both a lesson and an opportunity, not being your fault. I hope that makes sense. The Strength card in reverse is a card that talks about Spirit really paying attention, walking through and saying, I see you, in terms of the pain that you're going through right now. It's very powerful, very strong, and it's draining your energy. interested in a reading tailored to your exact situation, in the private session, I tune into your spread and your story. So the guidance speaks directly to you and your situation, not a general one. Walk away with clarity on your next step, aligned timing, and a simple plan you can act on today. Book your individualized tarot or astrology reading now. Link in the show notes. I think this is so true for you right now. Based on all the things that you've detailed in the email, you're at a very low point in your cycle of energetic rebirth and death, which is actually the symbol that we see here. The top of his head, the figure in the strength card, has an infinity symbol over their head. The infinity symbol being upside down represents that we're in a low phase of the cycle. The cycle continues, so it will get better, and then it'll eventually get bad again, and then it will get better, and then it will eventually get bad again. That's the movement of all different types of cycles in life. We could talk about the moon, we could talk about the menstrual cycles, we could talk about planets in our astrological places as well. This brings us insight into that. But this type of cycle is seen everywhere, even in witchcraft or everyday life, of life, death, birth, those sorts of cycles, day to night, the seasons. It's literally everywhere. And it's all connected. You may be at a very low point in your cycle of self. It's okay not to expect productivity from yourself right now. And it's okay not to expect brilliant ideas. You were talking about feeling like you have scattered energy at this time. And I just want you to know that that's also okay. This is the confusion and the fear and the feeling like I'm set up against an attack at this time. I can't see anything. I'm out of control. This is all being acknowledged to you by Spirit. Spirit is also talking about the importance of help and giving you a big congrats and a pat on the back for that as well. The Hermit in reverse, of course, is the card where we know somebody who's generally more type of an introverted type person stepping out of that space, even temporarily, as a way of spiritual growth. Awesome. This is like the full moon. I think it's all going to come to a head at fiery climax approaches. We see depicted in this card, which is the full moon in Aries, like a big full moon with the color red and the symbol of Aries over it. It's really strong, and it says in the caption, a fiery climax approaches. And then I pulled another one that is a balsamic moon, a tiny sliver, and it says a time for healing. I believe this card is referring to the fact that the downward part of this cycle that you're on is just about to reach its climax. So it's not going to go on for much longer. Okay, I would say a couple of weeks, but that's it. You're going to start to heal in a lot of different ways. And, it's getting to the point where it's ready. Everything is almost all the way to that very bottom part of this cycle. And then you're going to have your rebirth in your own personal inner spring, as you will. I would say, it's just a time for healing. Don't expect much from yourself. Don't do much. Let's see what else we pull for you. I've pulled some more tarot cards as well, considering the X that was mentioned in the email. And we've gotten the Seven of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Six of Swords. So in the first card, the Seven of Cups, we see a figure standing before a bunch of different cups up in the sky, and they all have these different options on them. The Page of Cups also came in, which is a jovial young figure holding a cup. The Six of Swords has come through as well in its upside down position. And that one shows two figures on a boat full of swords moving away from our view with their backs turned towards us. In fact, three figures have their backs to us, and they're on either side of this very beautifully illuminated Page of Cups. So we're going to imagine that this is sort of like a portal into the future, this Page of Cups. The Page of Cups represents a figure who's good with emotion and just kind of lighthearted, cares about emotions and is kind and is good and will make you laugh. You can feel their heart and they can feel yours, and you are able to talk about how you feel. It's nice, and that's what you're moving towards energetically. There are some things that Spirit has presented in front of you, all these different options. The Seven of Cups, which could be referring to that new guy you were talking to, and whether that's viable. If today's message sparked something specific for you, a one-on-one reading lets us go deeper into your chart, your cards, and your real-world constraints. You'll leave with personal insight, timing windows, and a tangible next step so that uncertainty stops running your show. Reserve your session today using the link in the show notes. Option for you. It doesn't seem like 100% go just yet. Maybe there's some more healing to do on your part. Maybe therapy might be a good idea. There's lots of different forms of therapy that aren't just talk therapy. There's painting, if you can lift your arm to paint, singing, bathing. Obviously consult your doctor. Keep your options open and just interview the guy, it seems like. And it's as if Spirit doesn't really want to give you the answer right now because it kind of wants you to figure it out for yourself, if that makes sense. Your spirit guides are saying it's time to focus on what you represent as a person, healing, and what you desire, what you need in a relationship. And that is going to be the biggest and most important lesson, no matter what option you end up going with. So it could be this guy. Interview them, get to know them, what they are like, and are they able to respond to a text? Are they able to build a solid relationship with real feelings? I would imagine that's what you want too. True love and easy love, because that's the vibe. It's just easy love. That feels like coming home. It feels like when you meet them, you're coming home. And it's not like what's depicted in the movies, just in case anybody was thinking that. The final card is the Six of Swords in reverse. And here we're not making any decisions yet. We are definitely moving on from the ex. And if there's any reason that was still on your mind, it's just like, nope, nope, nope. I just think sometimes the cards talk to me in a way that is so funny, because this one is in this reverse position, so you'd think, oh, don't move on. But I was thinking it's almost like a reverse, reverse, reverse. Like, really, that one's over with. And if there needs to be some more legal action in terms of limiting the amount that person can speak to you, consult a lawyer or whoever you need to. And most importantly, keep yourself protected. I want to add in this disclaimer that anything you hear from me is just general energetic advice. And for different areas of professional interest, you will need to consult with somebody who is professionally licensed in that area. I'm not a licensed doctor. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm a licensed yoga teacher. Make sure when you're thinking of things to do that you consult the correct people, including financial people. Everything I give on here is entertainment and to help your growth, and never as a substitute or a replacement from professionals in that field. All right, that's the main vibe I'm getting in the future. Go for it. You really want somebody. I'm not sure what sign you are, but this one is connected to Cancer, so it's connected to the home and the family. This is duality. You know, it's very much a card depicts bananas. It's very much a card that's just really lovely and talks about completion, being close to completion. I'm getting that from the fact that this is card number 27, which in numerology is a number 9, 10 being the conclusion. So we're close to the conclusion. That is so funny because just after that, the victory card, number 44, Aries. Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm actually freaking out about the synchronicities right here. This is really cool. It says victory, but it's in its reverse position. And it's number 44. Aries is the sign that actually starts the zodiac in modern astrology, Western astrology. And therefore, in that sense, is the beginning of a new cycle. When I said you're still on the path towards completing it, you haven't reached your victory yet, which is the conclusion of all of this, the beginning of the next cycle. So it just confirms to me that you're in a bit of a low rut and that things will get better. This is really beautiful. The card that's come in next is the Seer card and says, see beyond the current situation. This is a card that depicts someone looking into a crystal ball and seeing the future. It's talking about the importance of, it's not only what's going on right now, it's the things that you've been sowing, the spiritual work you have already been doing in the meditation. Keep up with that. Keep up with what your psychic would want you to do. All of that woo stuff. You know, the rituals, the new beginnings. And then the lady has shown herself here also in this same exact pattern of the end and the beginning. So here we see the end of the hard work and the beginning with the lady of the harvest. The harvest time, which is, you know, right about now, is coming up very soon, because we are recording this at the end of September. It's almost harvest season. That's if you're in the northern hemisphere, though. If you're in the southern hemisphere, then it's a different story, but spring has the similar kind of a vibe in that sense. It's the balanced spot, just as winter is the balanced spot. Even though they have different characteristics, they are still two different sets of characteristics. Well, that's it. That's all we have for episode 3 of the Dear Tarot podcast. Since I only got one question in this week, I was able to really dive deep into it, and that was awesome. So please submit your questions. If you're interested in submitting a question, send me a private message here on the Insight Timer app, or leave a review and let me know that you'd be interested in submitting a question. If you're interested in submitting to the Dear Tarot podcast one of your questions for me to do a reading for you, free, anonymously, and live right here on air on the Dear Tarot podcast, then please check for the link in the show notes. And if you'd like to purchase a private reading where we can actually delve deep into your particular story in a one-to-one manner, then also check for that in the show notes below. Bye, everybody, and thank you so much for listening to episode 3.